Indoor air pollution has been around for a long time, and people know this. So we're being condemned to stay indoors instead of going outdoors. And when I go hiking on the trail, people quickly mask up in the outdoors where there's wind and sunlight to disperse and inactivate viruses. The health officer of our county closed down the beaches. Can you believe that? There's always a wind at the beach, and people don't go to the beach unless there's sun generally. And she closed it down, telling people to stay indoors as if they're going to get infected more at the beach with people around than indoors where there's no air movement and no sunlight. It's lunacy to me. The whole thing has been lunacy. Medicine doesn't understand much of anything as far as I'm concerned. If you look at the drugs that are used, they are all antis, antihypertensive, antibiotic, anti-pain, also called analgesic, anti-inflammatory, anti this, anti that. Well, where is there something that is pro, that supports the body to heal instead of coming in and being anti? If it's anti, it's inhibiting something, and that's not necessarily good. It might bring you into a state of balance, but at a much lower level. In modern medicine today, we have a doctor for the left kidney, a doctor for the heart, a doctor for the foot. Give me a break. We are a single organism. You have to look at it from a broad perspective. And I often find joint problems, believe it or not, coming from the mouth. Root canals or infections in the teeth. Heart disease can come from the teeth. A scar on the body on one place can screw up its function in another place. And medicine is not looking at this. Medicine is only looking at suppressing symptoms to bring you into a lower state of balance. There's a difference between chemicals and metals. Let's talk about metals. Metals have been used in dentistry for years. They went off the deep end when they started using mercury, which is a known poison. One atom of mercury, I've heard, can disable a neuron, a nerve cell. The mercury is released from the teeth over time. It can build up in the body, and it has a predilection for the nervous system. It's slowly released. Then there's other metals. There's lead. I grew up in a time when there was lead in the atmosphere from leaded gasoline, but there's still lead paint on older homes. And all of us are exposed to lead since the Industrial Revolution. There's other metals. And if the metals are high, we seek to remove them with a process called chelation therapy, which is the use of compounds which grab heavy metals and help to bring them out of the body. I've been doing that since 1986. I see lead and mercury most commonly, and sometimes I see cadmium and other metals like arsenic. And we treat this with a form of chelation therapy to pull them out. I think that allergies are coming from a combination of chemicals and vaccines, which derange the immune system. I think allergies go back long before vaccines and long before chemicals, so people did have allergies. But vaccines are known to derange the immune system, promoting more allergies, and I think the chemicals and other toxins do the same thing. So when you see autoimmune disease, and there's a rise in autoimmune disease where the body is attacking itself. I don't believe the body's attacking itself. God doesn't make mistakes. I believe the body is going after something that you put in your body that shouldn't be there, like a heavy metal, could be a virus or a bacteria that's stealth that you can't see it. Maybe you don't have enough nutrition to bring your body into balance. People eat foods that they shouldn't be eating. It could be lectin-containing foods. There's a great book on that by Stephen Gundry called The Plant Paradox. There's a cause for everything, and it's not a deficiency of synthetic petrochemical pharmaceuticals. It could be an underlying infection that is weakening the system. It could be a toxin. We have depleted soil, so people are mineral deficient, they're nutritionally deficient. Disease is a combination of all of these things where the body can't repair or it can't mount a defense. And I believe that God put into our body wisdom to fight off infection, given a chance or given some assistance. And synthetic chemicals are not innate to the body. But on the other hand, when you have one of these chronic diseases, it's a sign that your body is not doing what the Creator designed it to do. And we should get into the body what the creator designed it to have and get the toxins out of it that are not supposed to be there, and then maybe augment some naturally stimulating stuff like ozone. And ozone is naturally produced by the body, believe it or not. Well, first thing I look at when you come into me is your history. Do you have root canals? Have you had teeth pulled? Have you had surgeries? Because all these things can cause a disturbance in the nervous system. We call it an interference field. Some people believe it's an energy block, the flow of energy. And they can be treated very easily and change lives. HEPA filter is not going to do much, and viruses will go right through it. I like this one better. It's on my website. People should read about it at the office website, drrowen, drsu.com, Dr. Rowen, drsu.com. This one I like because it puts out peroxides, and the peroxides are going to inactivate viral particles in the air, in my opinion. The HEPA filters are for particulates, and I like them for air pollution. I would like them if there's particulates in the air. We use that after our fires here. But when you're dealing with viruses, you're dealing with particles so small. So we like the one that puts out peroxide or ozone much better. Your body has a steady state of free radicals in it. Nitric oxide, for example, is a free radical. If a man didn't have nitric oxide, he wouldn't get erections. Superoxide is a free radical, which gets quenched to hydrogen peroxide. Your body diverts 5% of its oxygen supply every second. 5% gets converted to superoxide. God doesn't make mistakes. That's happening for a reason. So the body has a steady state of these free radicals: singlet oxygen, superoxide, nitric oxide, and other oxidants that it uses and holds in storage for invaders and to protect the body. This is part of life. You don't want to undo this. Ozone is an oxidant, and there are structures on the membrane of the virus that are extremely sensitive to oxidants. And they should be. That's how our immune system attacks these things. And when it comes in contact with an oxidant, it deranges the structure on the virus. It disables its ability to enter the cell. Ozone will affect a healthy cell, but the healthy cell can repair itself. An infected cell might not be able to. And that's cell you might want to get rid of. All I can tell you is that the oxidation state of a solution like blood may determine the infectivity of a virus. And if you increase the oxidation state, you probably reduce the infectivity of a virus. You inactivate it. Your body wants to be more alkaline, and the body is very sensitive to acid base, just like it's sensitive to redox, oxidation reduction. There's ozone in Europe more than here, but it's still generally under the surface because pharmaceutical medicine is mainstream and they own the airways, they own the press, they own just about everything. So anything that could interfere with their bottom line is suppressed. For home use, in fact, right now I'm drinking ozonated water as we speak. We bubble ozone through a flask filled with water, and then my wife and I will split it and drink it. So ozone water is one way, very simple, totally safe. Another way is giving it at home rectally. The rectum will absorb it. You can get good therapeutic effects from that. So that's called rectal insufflation. I do that occasionally. I also take ear ozone, ear insufflation on a regular basis. That's very simple to do. And we have a video of this, all of these, at ozonewithoutborders.ngo. My wife and I made a video of these techniques. So the home uses would be ozone water, ear ozone, rectal insufflation, and for women, vaginal insufflation. And in the office, we do blood therapies, and they're very common worldwide, where we take some blood out, treat it with ozone, and give it back to the patient. And that's how I got started with ozone. Ozone has been around. It antedates all regulatory agencies. It's been around since the late 1800s. And another therapy came around in the 1930s and 40s called ultraviolet blood irradiation, and that antedates them as well. It's called corona because it's got spike proteins around it on electron microscopy. So they named it for what it looks like, corona or a crown. And these spikes are very vulnerable to ozone or oxidation. I picked up on that based on their molecular structure and the fact that I led a team to Sierra Leone in 2014 where we cured Ebola, 5 cases of 5. Today, we're the only people to have done that. And coronavirus has the same membrane vulnerability as Ebola. And I put that out and I published on it, but the mainstream doesn't want to pick up on it because there's no money to be made on this. You cannot patent ozone. And they're only interested in what is fashionable, meaning profitable. And that's the sad state of affairs of the American disease maintenance system. If you want a vaccine, go and get it. Of course, because somebody's going to make bazillions of dollars, and then they might even make more bazillion dollars from the injuries induced by the vaccines. This is how I see it. In the meantime, we have a therapy that's dirt cheap, 100% safe, and can get rid of this thing very quickly, in my opinion. But that's going very slow because you can't make money on it. And the system was set up deliberately many years ago to feed off of what is going to be extraordinarily profitable to the detriment of the American people. Well, we have a lot of Lyme disease cases, which is almost impossible to treat conventionally. They get antibiotics and then it recurs. And with ozone, most of our patients do well over a period of time. So Lyme disease is one of them. I have reported on bacterial infections being fixed very quickly with ozone therapy. I have some patients with heart disease, heart failure, who do very well with a combination of ozone and nutritional therapy. And we can get what's called the ejection fraction, which is the amount of blood the heart squeezes out with one pump. We can usually improve it by about 50%. So if they come in with an ejection fraction of 40, we can get it to normal at 60. If they come in and it's 20, which is barely compatible with life, generally we'll get it to 30 or 35, which can give them a much nicer life. We've seen it improve kidney function. In fact, there's very little it's not going to help because all life is based on oxygen. And if you can get more oxygen to tissues, the tissues will heal and they will give you health. Ozone makes a series of downstream metabolites called ozonides, and peroxides are part of them. And those stimulate the immune system. They're small molecules, and it's what the immune cells use to talk to each other. So ozone stimulates this. They help the body to release more oxygen into the tissues. They modulate the immune system, meaning if the immune system is out of balance, it helps rebalance it. It helps mitochondria burn more oxygen, which makes more energy. It probably reduces coagulation in the bloodstream by improving certain very important vascular lubricators. I believe that what ozone is doing is it's stimulating your body to do what God designed your immune system to do, which is to get rid of the bad guys and live in harmony with the good guys. I had a case come in of cellulitis, a bacterial infection from a tick bite. We did one therapy on him and it was gone in 2 days, and I published it. I generally tell people to do the home methods at home, and if they need my methods, which are probably more powerful, then they can come into the office and get it. Prolozone is shooting ozone into soft tissues and or joints and or ligaments, etc., to deliver ozone directly to affected injured areas. The ozone stimulates healing. Ozone gas is a combination of oxygen and ozone, and the ozone breaks down very quickly to oxygen. And so you're getting oxygen into tissues and you're enabling them to heal because that's what the tissues need. And the ozone starts a chemical cascade to stimulate growth and healing. So I use it for joints and I use it for tissues and I use it to help injured tissues repair. If God didn't make it, don't eat it. Eat what grows around you ripe, largely raw or uncooked and when in season. That's the first place to start. See somebody who can help you detoxify and consider ozone therapy for upregulating your whole system to get more oxygen into you. Those are probably the fundamentals in today's world of staying well. My website has a lot of free information. We have a blog, we discussed a lot of stuff. I have a Facebook page that we talk about all kinds of things, from vaccines to COVID to oxidation. So they should go to my professional Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel with many hundreds of happy patients. And I have published articles, and the published articles are on my office website. So we definitely encourage people to read and study for themselves before they jump to any conclusion, plus or minus. It's really testy these days because those in power are now going after social media to stifle opposition to the prevailing paradigm. And that's why you see them taken off. And you're a human being. My patients are human beings. They have to come first above everything else. But in today's world, it's totally different. Things have been upended. And I do believe that you are seeing an open warfare now between light and dark. And that's what is happening.